Morning arrives soft and gray, the sun hidden behind thick clouds that promise more snow. The world is silent in that particular way that only happens in deep winter, when snow muffles every sound and the air itself seems to be holding its breath. Bjorn wakes first, as he always does, his body remembering decades of rising before dawn to stoke the forge fires. For a moment, a blessed, peaceful moment, he forgets where he is. His eyes are still closed, and in that darkness, he could be home. Could be in his own bed, with Helga sleeping beside him, her breath soft and even. In a moment he'll rise and pad downstairs to the forge. He'll start the fire, pump the bellows, heat the iron until it glows. The morning will smell of coal smoke and hot metal. Helga will bring him tea and a kiss on the cheek before opening the bakery. Then he opens his eyes and sees the cave entrance, the dying embers of their fire casting orange light across stone. He sees his companions sleeping in their bedrolls, bundled against the cold. He sees his warhammer leaning against a rock, waiting. And memory crashes back like a wave of ice water. Helga is still trapped. His home is occupied by things from nightmare. His forge is cold and silent. And he's here, in the mountains, on this impossible quest that seems more likely to kill him than succeed. For a moment, the weight of it threatens to crush him. He's 43 years old. His back aches. His hands are scarred from 25 years of forge work. He's not a hero. He's just a blacksmith who wanted to grow old with his wife, who wanted to teach his craft to apprentices, who wanted nothing more than the simple rhythm of work and rest and love. But he takes a breath. Then another. Then he pushes himself upright and adds wood to the fire, coaxing it back to life. The simple, familiar task grounds him. The wood is dry pine, collected before they slept. It catches quickly, flames licking up the sides of the logs. He arranges them just so, creating channels for airflow, building the fire the way he's built thousands of others. This one is no different even if everything else is. The warmth spreads, pushing back the cold. Small victories, Bjorn thinks. That's how you survive impossible things. One small victory at a time. One fire. One step. One breath. Freya wakes next, stretching like a cat in a patch of sunlight. She's slept better than she expected, wrapped in her bedroll with the guardian's heart crystal warm against her chest. Her dreams were strange, full of green growing things and ancient songs sung in languages she doesn't know but somehow understands. She dreamed of a garden larger than the world, tended by hands made of starlight. She dreamed of roots going down forever, connecting everything, making all life one vast, breathing organism. She sits up slowly, not wanting to disturb the others, and finds Bjorn already by the fire. He looks tired. They all look tired, she supposes. But there's something solid about Bjorn, something steady. He reminds her of the old oak tree that grew in Frostholm Square, weathered by time, scarred by storms, but still standing. Still strong. She joins him by the fire, wrapping her cloak tighter around herself, and they share comfortable silence. This is one of the things she appreciates about Bjorn. He doesn't feel the need to fill every quiet moment with talk. Some people are uncomfortable with silence, as if it's a void that must be filled. But silence can be companionable. Silence can be restful. The fire crackles. Snow begins to fall again, light flakes that drift down lazy and unconcerned. Freya watches them land on her sleeve, each one a tiny, perfect work of art, before they melt from her body heat. "Do you think she's all right?" Bjorn asks quietly, not looking at Freya. His eyes are on the fire. "Helga, do you think they're treating them well?" Freya considers lying. Considers offering empty comfort. But Bjorn deserves honesty. "I don't know," she says. But the vision showed them alive. Kept, not killed. That means something. It means they want them for something. Yes. But it also means there's still time. Still hope. She touches his arm gently. "We'll get her back, Bjorn. We'll get all of them back." He nods, not quite trusting his voice. They sit together as the dawn slowly brightens, and the world shifts from black to gray to that particular blue that comes before true sunrise. Astrid rises silently, as she does everything. One moment she's in her bedroll, the next she's standing, already alert, already checking her weapons with practiced efficiency. She counts her arrows, down to 23 after yesterday's fight with the Stone Guardian. She'll need to make more, which means finding the right wood, straight and strong. Finding feathers for fletching. Finding time, which is the resource they have least of. The hunter moves to the edge of their camp, scanning the horizon with eyes that miss nothing. She notes wind direction, coming from the north, steady, cold. Cloud patterns, thick and gray, sitting heavy on the mountains. The way the trees bend, indicating the prevailing winds over seasons and years. The tracks in the snow, their own from last night, and nothing else, which is both reassuring and concerning. Where are the animals? Where are the birds? The silence of these mountains is unnatural, oppressive. Storm coming, she says, her voice carrying clearly despite speaking at normal volume. In the wilderness, you learn to project without shouting. Maybe 2 days out. Big one. We'll be at the Runestone before then, Harold says, and everyone jumps slightly because no one saw him wake up. The old man is like that, present when needed, mysterious about everything else, appearing and disappearing like morning mist. He's already sitting up, somehow fully dressed despite no one seeing him move. His pipe is already lit, smoke curling up to join the gray sky. He's making tea in a battered tin pot that's seen better days, probably better decades. The pot is dented and blackened with soot, but it makes good tea. Harold is particular about his tea. He hums while he works, an old song that none of them recognize but all of them find strangely comforting. It's the kind of song that feels like it's always existed, like it was old when the world was young. Sven is the last to wake, groggy and stiff from sleeping on cold ground. He sits up slowly, his neck protesting, his back complaining, his legs reminding him that yesterday involved a lot of walking and fighting a stone spider the size of a house. Did we really fight a stone spider yesterday, or did I dream that? He asks, his voice rough with sleep. Both, Freya says with a gentle smile. We fought it and you'll probably dream about it for weeks. That's how these things work. The body remembers even when the mind tries to forget. I don't want to forget, Sven says, reaching for his journal. This is the adventure I've always wanted. I mean, it's terrifying and I might die, but it's also real. It's actually happening. He starts writing immediately, trying to capture everything from yesterday before the details fade. The weight of the spear in his hands. The sound of the guardian's legs on stone. The moment when he realized he could help, that he wasn't useless, that fear doesn't mean you can't act. They eat a simple breakfast, dried meat that's tough and salty, hard bread that has to be softened in hot tea before it won't break your teeth, cheese that's starting to freeze but still tastes good. Astrid melts snow for drinking water, careful to use snow from clean drifts, away from trees or rocks where animals might have marked territory. These small rituals of survival comfort them more than grand speeches ever could. There's something deeply human about gathering around a fire, sharing food, preparing for the day ahead. Their ancestors did this exact same thing thousands of years ago. Their descendants will do it thousands of years hence, God's willing. They're part of an unbroken chain stretching back to the first humans who learned to make fire and forward to the last humans who will ever watch flames dance. The high pass, Harold says, pointing northeast with his staff. The gnarled wood catches the firelight, and the runes carved into it seem to shift and move. We follow the old trader's route, the one that goes through the singing pines. 3 days to the Runestone if we make good time and weather holds. The singing pines, Bjorn repeats slowly, testing the name. I've heard of them. The trees that sound like voices in the wind. Couples would go there to pledge their love. Poets wrote songs about them. That was before, Astrid says grimly. She's already seen the purple tinge on the horizon, the unnatural stillness in the air that speaks of corruption, of wrongness, of the natural order twisted into something it was never meant to be. The corruption reached there first. It's on the direct path from Frostholm. The demons would have passed right through. Then we'll have to be careful, Harold says, his tone suggesting this is an understatement of magnificent proportions. And observant. The demons aren't the only things moving in these mountains. The corruption changes everything it touches. Animals. Plants. Even the stone itself, given time. They pack their camp with practiced efficiency. They're getting good at this, learning the rhythms of travel life. Bedrolls strapped tight. Gear distributed evenly. Nothing jangling or loose to make noise. They're not soldiers, but they're learning. Before they leave, Freya places her hand on the stone of the cave entrance, closing her eyes. The others have learned to give her these moments. She's communing with the land, feeling its pulse, checking its health. The corruption is spreading, she says when she opens her eyes. Slower than I feared, but still spreading. We're maybe 3 days ahead of it. If we don't stop the source, it will consume everything within a month. Maybe less. Then we stop the source, Bjorn says, shouldering his pack. Simple. Simple, Astrid echoes with the faintest hint of dark humor. Just 5 people against an army of demons. Very simple. But they're smiling when they say it, and that matters. Humor in the face of impossible odds. It's very human. Very stubborn. Very much the kind of thing that might, just might, see them through. They set out as true dawn breaks, the sun finally piercing the clouds to paint the snow in shades of pink and gold. It's beautiful. The world is ending, and it's still beautiful. Somehow that makes it worth fighting for even more. The first part of their journey takes them down from the cave, following a switchback trail that Astrid knows from her hunting days. The path is narrow, carved into the mountainside by countless feet over countless years. To their left, the mountain rises steep and forbidding. To their right, it falls away into valleys filled with morning mist. They walk single file, Astrid leading, then Bjorn, then Freya, then Sven with Harald bringing up the rear. It's a good formation, the strongest fighters at front and back, the most vulnerable in the middle. Not that Freya and Sven are helpless, but they're not warriors. Not yet. Give them time. Everyone grows into what they need to be, given enough pressure and enough will to survive. The trail descends for over an hour, winding back and forth across the mountain face. In summer, this would be a pleasant walk with spectacular views. In winter, it's treacherous, ice hiding under fresh snow, rocks loosened by freeze-thaw cycles, wind gusting hard enough to push you off balance. But they make it down without incident, emerging into a narrow valley where a river has frozen into a twisted sculpture of ice. The river is called the Serpent's Thread, named for how it winds through the mountains. In summer, it runs fast and cold with snowmelt. In winter, it becomes this, a highway of ice stretching between snow-covered banks. The ice is thick, Astrid confirms, testing it with her weight. Should hold us. But we cross single file, 20 paces between each person. If the ice breaks, we don't all go down together. It's a grim calculus, but a necessary one. They've all seen people fall through ice. They all know how fast the cold water kills, how your muscles seize up, how you can't swim, can't breathe, can't do anything except sink. Astrid goes first, moving with careful deliberation, testing each step before committing her weight. The ice groans beneath her boots but holds. She's halfway across when she signals for Bjorn to follow. Bjorn steps onto the ice, and despite Astrid's assurances, his heart hammers. The ice is cloudy, impossible to see through clearly, but he can make out dark shapes beneath. Rocks, probably, or logs washed down in spring floods and trapped when the river froze. Or something else. He's 10 paces out when Freya starts across. Then Sven. Then Harald. They're spread out along the crossing, a line of humans on ice, trusting that nature will hold them up, that the cold that makes their breath fog and their fingers ache will also keep them safe. Halfway across, Sven pauses. Do you hear that? They all stop listening. Beneath the ice, something moves. A shadow, too large to be a fish, too purposeful to be a log. It glides beneath them, following their crossing. Watching. The shadow is long, 15 feet, maybe more. It moves with sinuous grace, keeping pace with them easily. And now that they're paying attention, they can hear it, a sound like humming or singing, or something that's almost like words in a language that predates speech. Keep moving, Astrid says quietly, her voice tight with controlled fear. Don't run. Don't look back. Just walk. Steady and calm. They obey, each step measured, no one speaking. The shadow follows. Sometimes it's directly beneath them, so close they can see the details of its form, something like an eel, but segmented, with too many fins, with eyes that glow faintly purple. The river guardian, Bjorn thinks. Or what used to be one. Now corrupted, twisted, turned into something hungry and wrong. Astrid reaches the far bank first. She doesn't relax, just turns and knocks an arrow, covering the others as they cross. Bjorn is next, then Freya, each one breathing relief as they step from ice to solid ground. Sven is 3/4 across when the ice cracks beneath him. Not a full break, just a hairline fracture, but it's spreading, spider-webbing out from where he stands. He freezes, literally and figuratively, not daring to move. The shadow beneath the ice surges upward, striking the ice from below. The impact sends shockwaves through the frozen surface. More cracks spread. Sven! Bjorn shouts. Run. Now! Sven runs. The ice breaks behind him, chunks of it falling into black water, and the thing beneath rises, a head emerging, all teeth and corrupt flesh and furious, confused eyes. It's been twisted by the demon's presence, changed into something that's forgotten what it used to be, knows only hunger and rage. Sven's boots pound on ice, each step a prayer. The bank is so close, 10 feet, 5 feet. He leaps, boots leaving ice, and Bjorn catches him, pulling him to safety as the ice where he stood collapses completely. The corrupted guardian's head breaks through, mouth opening wide, revealing rows of crystalline teeth. Astrid's arrow takes it in the eye. The creature screams, a sound like breaking glass mixed with whale song, and disappears beneath the ice, thrashing, sending up gouts of dark water. Harold is still on the ice, 20 feet from shore, with broken sections between him and safety. The old man looks at the gaps, at the thrashing water, and sighs. "I'm too old for this," he mutters. Then he slams his staff down 3 times on the ice. The water stops moving. Just stops. Frozen in mid-splash, crystals of ice forming so fast they crackle and pop. The gaps seal with fresh ice, thick and solid and glowing faintly blue from Harold's magic. He walks across his ice bridge with dignity, as if this is perfectly normal, as if he hasn't just done something that should be impossible. When he reaches the bank, Sven is staring. "You're a wizard. You're actually a wizard." "I'm a skald," Harold corrects. "There's a difference. Wizards study. Skalds remember. What I do is old magic, word magic, song magic. It's not about power. It's about knowing the right words to remind the water what it used to be." "That's wizard talk," Sven insists. "That's definitely wizard talk." They move away from the river quickly, none of them wanting to be there if the guardian recovers. They climb the far bank and pause at the top to catch their breath and look back. The river is still, ice pristine except for the patch where they crossed. But beneath that ice, purple light glows, pulsing like a heartbeat. The corruption has reached even here, even the ancient waterways. Nothing is safe. Nowhere is untouched. Freya kneels and touches the snow, seeking connection with the land. She can feel it now, more clearly than before, the wrongness spreading like infection through everything. The earth itself is sick, confused, trying to fight off something it has no defense against. The rivers don't know which way to flow. The trees don't know when to sleep. The animals don't know where to go. Everything is unbalanced, tilted, wrong. "Can you heal it?" Bjorn asks, though he already knows the answer. "Maybe," she says. "Eventually. If we stop the source." She stands, determination hardening her usually soft features. "But we have to stop them first. No healing while the wound is still being made. You can't bail out a boat while someone's still smashing holes in it." She's right, they're not trying to save what's already lost. They're trying to stop the loss from spreading further. They climb into the foothills, following Astrid's lead. She knows these paths, has hunted deer and mountain goats along these trails for years. Every rock, every tree, every turn is familiar. Or it should be. But even familiar terrain feels different now. The silence is too complete. No birds sing, not even ravens, who usually stay year-round. No small animals rustle in the undergrowth. No wind whispers through the trees. Everything is hiding or gone or dead. It reminds Astrid of that time, 3 years ago, when she was tracking a buck and stumbled into a wolf pack's territory. The forest had gone silent just like this. Every creature that could flee had fled. Every creature that couldn't had hidden. The silence was a warning. Predators near. Danger close. That's what this feels like. The whole mountain range is holding its breath, waiting for the predators to pass. Around midday, they stop to rest and eat. Cold lunch. More dried meat, hard cheese, water that's so cold it hurts your teeth. They don't make a fire. Too risky. Smoke can be seen for miles in clear air. They're sitting on fallen logs, eating in silence, when Astrid stiffens. "Don't move," she says quietly. "Something's watching us." They all freeze, trying to see what she sees. There, in the tree line, maybe 50 yards off. Something large and dark among the shadows. Watching. Waiting. For a long moment, nothing happens. Then the watcher moves and they catch a glimpse. A wolf. But wrong. Too large, with fur that looks almost like black glass, and eyes that reflect purple instead of green. "Corrupted," Freya breathes. "Like the river guardian." The wolf watches them for another moment, then turns and lopes away, disappearing into the forest. Not attacking. Just observing. Reporting back maybe? "We need to keep moving," Astrid says. "If the demons have scouts out here, we're not safe. We won't be safe until we reach the Runestone." They gather their things quickly and press on. The afternoon is a blur of walking, of checking over their shoulders, of starting at shadows. The corruption's presence is a constant weight, a pressure behind their eyes, a taste like metal in the back of their throats. Around mid-afternoon, they find the first body. It's a demon scout, one of the smaller ones, about the size of a large dog, with too many legs and a head that's mostly teeth. It's dead, torn apart by something with massive claws. The crystalline substance that serves as its blood has frozen into purple ice on the snow, creating strange, beautiful, horrible patterns. What could kill a demon? Sven whispers, his voice tight with fear. Harold examines the corpse carefully, using his staff to turn it over without touching it directly. Something strong. Something angry. He points to the claw marks, each one as long as a man's hand. Bear maybe, but larger than any bear should be. The corruption doesn't just twist trees and rivers, you see. It affects animals too. Makes them larger, stranger, more aggressive. The natural world fights back against what doesn't belong. "So we might face corrupted bears," Bjorn says flatly. "Bears the size of houses. That's wonderful. I'm so glad we embarked on this quest." "Or wolves," Astrid adds, checking her arrows again. "Or mountain cats. Anything could be out there now, changed by what the demons brought with them." She knocks an arrow, keeps it ready but not drawn. They need to be prepared for anything. The pass rises before them, a narrow gap between two mountains. The singing pines wait beyond, a dark smudge of forest against gray stone. They can see it from here, and even at this distance, something looks wrong about it. The trees are too still. The shadows are too deep. The whole forest has a presence, a weight, like a held breath. "That's where we have to go?" Sven asks, already knowing the answer, hoping against hope that maybe there's another route. "That's where we have to go," Astrid confirms. "No other way. Not unless we want to add a week going around, and we don't have a week." They move faster now, staying close together. The trees seem to lean in around them, their branches creaking in wind that doesn't quite sound natural. Shadows move between trunks. Might be nothing, might be something, might be their imaginations playing tricks on eyes that have seen too much strangeness in too short a time. The sun is setting, painting the snow in shades of amber and rose. Beautiful and terrifying all at once. They need to reach the singing pines before full dark. No one wants to be caught in the open when night falls. Not with demons abroad. Not with corrupted creatures hunting. Not with the world itself turned hostile and strange. There, Astrid points. Ahead, the mountain rises steep and dark, and at its base, they can just make out the edge of the forest. The singing pines. Their next trial. Their next test. They press on as the light fades, racing against the sunset, hoping they'll reach the trees before darkness falls completely. Behind them, something howls. Not a wolf howl. Not quite. Something that remembers being a wolf but isn't anymore. They run. They reach the forest as twilight deepens into true night. The singing pines were once beautiful, ancient trees that would hum and whisper in the wind, creating harmonies that travelers claimed could cure sadness or bring clarity to troubled minds. The trees were sacred, protected by custom and law. Couples would come here to pledge their love, believing the trees would bless their union. Poets wrote verses about the songs only these trees could sing. Musicians tried to capture their melodies, always failing, always falling short of the original beauty. Harold came here once, 60 years ago, with a woman whose name he keeps close to his heart. They stood beneath the trees and listened to the songs, and for that hour, the whole world had felt right. Perfect. Complete. Now the pines scream. Not loudly. Not in any way that could be called a sound, exactly. But everyone feels it, a high, constant pressure in their heads, like nails scraping across the inside of their skulls. Like the worst headache you've ever had, but worse and constant, and laced with something that feels like emotion. The trees are in agony, their bark cracking and weeping that same oily purple substance. They're dying slowly, fighting something they can't fight, screaming in the only way trees can scream. Freya stops at the forest's edge, and her face goes white. Her hands come up to her head, pressing against her temples. The others can feel the tree's pain as a pressure, an unpleasant sensation. But Freya, with her gift, with her connection to growing things, she feels it like a knife in her heart. Every tree is a friend she's watching die. Every root system is a network of pain she can't escape. We have to go through? Sven asks, already knowing the answer but needing to say it anyway. Needing someone to acknowledge how terrible this is. It's this or add 5 days going around, Harold says, and for once, he sounds old. He sounds tired. This place held beauty once, and now it holds only suffering. It's hard to see sacred things desecrated. And we don't have 5 days. The storm is coming. The demons are moving. We have to reach the Runestone. Can we help them? Bjorn asks Freya. The trees. Can we help them like you helped the stone guardian? Freya shakes her head, tears streaming down her face. There are thousands of trees. Even with the guardian's crystal, I couldn't heal them all. I don't have enough strength. I don't have enough power. I don't have enough anything. Then we go through, Astrid says, her voice gentle but firm. We go through and we reach the Runestone and we seal the breach. And maybe then, maybe after, you can come back and heal this place. But not now. Now we survive. They enter the forest. Immediately, the light dims. The trees grow so close together that even the final rays of sunset barely penetrate. Purple phosphorescence glows from the corrupted sap, giving everything a sickly, dreamlike quality. The light doesn't behave right. It pools in places light shouldn't pool, casts shadows where shadows shouldn't be. The whole forest feels like a fever dream, like walking through a painting that hasn't quite dried. The path through the pines is old, worn by centuries of travelers. But now it's overgrown, choked with corruption-twisted undergrowth. Bushes that once produced sweet berries now grow thorns as long as fingers. Vines that once made pleasant handholds now writhe slowly, like sleeping snakes. They walk single file again, Astrid leading, cutting a path with her knife when necessary. Every few steps, they have to stop and rest, the pressure in their heads making it hard to think, hard to move, hard to do anything except endure. Freya is crying continuously now. She can't help it. The pain of the trees crashes over her in waves. She can feel every struggling root, every dying branch, every moment of confused agony as the trees try to understand what's happening to them. They're ancient, these pines. Some of them have stood for 300 years. They've weathered storms and droughts and harsh winters. They've sheltered generations of travelers. They've sung their songs to countless listeners. And now they're dying and they don't understand why. Bjorn walks beside her, one steady hand on her shoulder. He doesn't speak. What could he say? But his presence helps. Human contact, human warmth, the reminder that she's not alone in this suffering. They're maybe a quarter of the way through the forest when Sven stops walking abruptly. Something's here, he says, his voice barely above a whisper. They all freeze. Astrid's arrow comes up, drawn now, ready. Bjorn raises his hammer. Sven holds his spear with white-knuckled hands. Harald grips his staff, words of power on his lips, ready to speak them if needed. The trees around them begin to move. Not like the wind is blowing them. Like they're moving themselves. Branches reach down, grasping, their wood creaking and groaning. Roots burst from the ground, writhing like serpents, seeking targets. The corruption has given them a terrible form of life, and that life is hungry and angry and so confused. The trees don't want to attack. Freya can feel it. They're fighting the corruption's command with every fiber of their being. But the corruption is strong, and they're weak, and they can't resist forever. It's like watching someone you love being forced to hurt you. Like watching your grandmother's hands close around your throat while her eyes scream, I'm sorry, I can't stop. Run or fight. Bjorn shouts over the creaking trees and Freya sobs. Can't outrun a forest. Astrid shouts back. She looses an arrow at a branch reaching for Sven. The arrow pins it to a trunk, but 3 more branches take its place, groping through the air with terrible purpose. Harald slams his staff into the ground 3 times, and for a moment, the trees hesitate. Old magic meets new corruption, and neither knows quite what to make of the other. The trees remember Harald's magic. They remember when magic was clean and clear and helped things grow. But the corruption is strong, and the hesitation is brief. Then the forest attacks again, redoubled. Branches swing like clubs. Roots grab at ankles, trying to trip, to trap, to hold. The purple sap drips from cracked bark, and where it lands, it burns like acid. They fight, but how do you fight a forest? Bjorn's hammer smashes branches, but there are always more branches. Astrid's arrows find their marks, but the targets are infinite. Sven stabs his spear into grasping roots, but the roots keep coming. Freya steps forward, the guardian's heart crystal blazing in her hands. Please, she shouts, and her voice carries power it never had before. Not just sound, but something deeper, will, connection, love. We're not your enemy. We're trying to help. The trees pause again, listening. She can feel their confusion, their pain. They don't want to attack. They're being forced, compelled. The corruption is riding them like a cruel master rides a beaten horse, whip in hand, demanding obedience. Let me help you, Freya says, softer now. Tears still stream down her face, but her voice is steady. She plants her feet, closes her eyes, and channels everything, her gift, the crystal's power, her desperate need to heal something in this broken world. Green light explodes from her hands, washing over the nearest trees. Where it touches, the purple corruption burns away like frost in sunlight. The trees shudder, their branches stilling. The screaming in everyone's heads fades, replaced by something else. Not quite a sound. More like a feeling. Like the first breath after nearly drowning. Like pain ending after endless days. Like relief. The trees she healed glow softly green now, their own light fighting back against the corruption around them. And more, they're moving again, but this time with purpose, with clear intention. Their branches reach out to touch neighboring trees, and where they touch, green light spreads. Slowly. So slowly. But spreading. Freya is trembling, swaying on her feet. That took everything she had. Her vision swims. Her knees buckle. She can't do it again. She's pushed herself too far, spent too much, given too much of herself to the healing. But Bjorn catches her before she falls. I've got you, he murmurs. You did it. Look. She looks up through exhausted eyes and sees what she started. The healed trees touch others, spreading green light through the forest. It will take time, hours, maybe days, but the healing spreads. Like ripples in a pond. Like dawn spreading across the land. One tree at a time, the singing pines remember what they used to be. She started something, Harald says with deep satisfaction, leaning on his staff and watching the green lights spread through purple darkness. Healing spreads just like corruption does. It will take time, but the forest will save itself now. She gave it the seed. She reminded it that it can fight back. Freya looks up at him from where she's leaning against Bjorn, exhausted but amazed. Really? It will really work. Really? Well done, child. Though let's not make a habit of nearly killing yourself with magic, yes? I'm too old to carry you through the mountains. The corrupted trees deeper in the forest are still moving, still dangerous. But a path has opened, a corridor of healed trees that bow their branches aside, creating a safe passage through. The trees are grateful. They're helping. For the first time since entering this nightmare, they have allies. The forest is helping us, Sven breathes, writing frantically in his journal even as they walk. That's amazing. This is exactly the kind of thing that happens in the old stories. The hero heals the guardian, and the guardian helps them in return. They walk the green path through the purple forest, protected by the trees Freya saved. It takes over an hour to traverse, and by the end, they can see the corruption is already less. The healing spreads. Some trees are singing again, not the full harmonies they once produced, but soft notes, hesitant melodies, the first attempts at remembered songs. As they exit on the far side, the healed trees sing for them. Not words, exactly, but a feeling, gratitude, hope, determination. It flows through them like warm honey, soothing their aches, easing their exhaustion, filling them with something they'd almost forgotten in these dark days: hope. It's the most beautiful thing any of them have ever heard. Sven is crying. Bjorn is smiling. Even Astrid's eyes are wet. Harold just nods, as if this is exactly what he expected, though his hand trembles slightly on his staff. They camp at the forest's edge, in a small clearing surrounded by rocks that offer some shelter from the wind that's picking up. The storm Astrid predicted is getting closer. They can smell snow on the air, feel the pressure dropping, see the clouds racing overhead like horses fleeing a predator. But here, protected by stone and healing trees, they have a moment of safety. A moment to rest. Bjorn is setting up their tents, simple lean-tos made of canvas and hope, barely enough to keep the worst of the wind and snow off them, when Astrid returns from scouting the perimeter. Her face is troubled, which is saying something. Astrid's face is usually unreadable, carved from the same stone as the mountains she hunts in. There's someone out there, she says without preamble. Astrid doesn't waste words. Wounded. About half a mile north. I don't think they'll last the night. Bjorn straightens, his back protesting. Could be a trap, he says, ever practical. He's not naturally suspicious, but these mountains have taught him caution. Could be, Astrid agrees. But I don't think so. The tracks are wrong for demons. They're too clean, too organized. And she hesitates, and that's unusual enough that everyone stops what they're doing to listen. Astrid doesn't hesitate. There are feathers. Large ones. Silver. Harold's head snaps up so fast his neck cracks audibly. Silver feathers? You're certain? Yes, what does that? But Harold is already moving, faster than an old man should be able to move, his staff clicking against stone with each rapid step. Show me now. The rest of you come, all of you, this is important. They follow Astrid through the darkening forest, leaving Sven to guard the camp. He protests vigorously, but I want to see what's happening. This is the exciting part. Until Freya gently points out that someone needs to keep the fire going and watch their supplies, and that's also a heroic duty. He subsides, grumbling but stays. The tracks are clear. Something large was dragged here, struggling, leaving a trail of silver-black blood that steams faintly in the cold air. And yes, there are feathers. Each one as long as Bjorn's forearm, gleaming silver even in the dim light, catching the last rays of sunset and throwing them back brighter, as if the feathers themselves are light sources. Bjorn picks one up carefully. It's lighter than it should be, and warm despite the cold. It hums with power, not audibly, but he can feel it in his bones, in the old ache in his back, in the scars on his hands. This feather has magic, old magic, the kind that shaped the world before humans learned to write. They find her in a hollow between two ancient stones, barely visible in the gathering darkness. At first glance, she's a woman, tall, powerful, with blonde hair braided for battle in the old style, each braid containing small charms and runes that catch the fading light. She wears armor that seems made of ice and starlight, solid but translucent, and a sword that still glows faintly blue lies beside her, its blade etched with runes that spell out names. Names of the fallen. Names of heroes. But she also has wings. Massive wings, silver-feathered, each feather perfect and gleaming. One wing is folded properly against her back. The other is broken, bent at a sickening angle, some feathers torn out entirely, leaving bloody gaps in the plumage. And her eyes, when they flutter open at the sound of their approach, are the color of winter sky, too bright, too blue, too otherworldly to be human. They're the color of the aurora borealis. The color of lightning. The color of something that belongs to a different reality entirely. Valkyrie, Harold breathes, and there's reverence in his voice, actual reverence, which is notable because Harold is irreverent about most things. A shield maiden of Odin. Chooser of the slain. Rider of storms. By the old gods, I thought you were all gone from the mortal realm. I thought the last of you departed when the gods withdrew. The Valkyrie focuses on them with visible effort, her eyes clearing. When she speaks, her voice is like wind chimes in a storm, beautiful and strange and not quite like a human voice. There's music in it, harmonics that shouldn't be possible with a human throat. The barriers are broken. She manages, each word costing her. The demons broke through. We tried to stop them. We fought them in the spaces between worlds. I fell through one of the tiers. We tried to hold them back, but there were so many. Her eyes close, and for a moment, they think she's passed out. But she's still breathing, shallow and rapid. Still alive. Still fighting. Freya is already moving forward, the Guardian's crystal in her hands, drawn to suffering the way fire is drawn upward. Let me help. Careful, child, Harold warns, his hand on her shoulder, holding her back for just a moment. She's not mortal. Not human. Her body works differently. Your healing might not. I have to try. Freya shakes off his hand gently but firmly. She kneels beside the Valkyrie, places her hands on the broken wing, and immediately gasps. This is different from healing mortals or trees. The Valkyrie is made of older magic, harder to touch, harder to mend. Her essence is too bright, too intense, like trying to hold onto lightning. Freya's power wants to recoil, to pull back from something so fundamentally different. But Freya has healed a forest today. She's touched the pain of thousands of trees and not broken. She's strong now, stronger than she was, and she will not fail this suffering being if she has anything to say about it. The Guardian's crystal flares, green light mixing with the Valkyrie's silver glow, and together they create something new, a jade light shot through with metallic threads, beautiful and strange. The broken wing shifts, bones grinding back into place with sounds that make everyone wince. The Valkyrie grits her teeth but doesn't cry out. Valkyries don't cry out. It's not pride exactly, more like ancient training, like reflexes carved too deep to overcome. Slowly, so slowly, the wing heals. The bones align. The torn muscles reconnect. The missing feathers don't grow back. That will take time, but the structure is sound again. Not completely healed, it will take more time for that, days or weeks. But enough that the immediate danger passes. Enough that she'll survive the night. Freya pulls back, shaking with exhaustion. She's pushed herself too far today. The forest healing. Now this. She's operating on fumes and determination. Thank you, the Valkyrie says, sitting up carefully, testing her wing with minute movements. I am Sigrun Stormwing, fifth daughter of the North Wind, chooser of the slain, rider of the summer storms, bearer of the lightning spear. And I am in your debt, little healer. A Valkyrie's debt is no small thing. I will see it paid before I return to the halls of Valhalla. Freya Snow Whisper, Freya says, swaying with exhaustion but smiling despite it. And I think we're all in this together now. No debts, just companions, friends. Sigrun looks at her for a long moment, then nods slowly. Friends, it has been long since I had mortal friends. The last was... She pauses, calculating. 300 years ago. A shield maiden named Astrid, actually. Coincidence? Astrid the hunter raises an eyebrow. Named after an ancestor? Perhaps. Or perhaps your ancestor was named after someone who impressed a Valkyrie. Sigrun smiles slightly, and it transforms her face, makes her look less like a divine warrior and more like a person. Time is strange. Names echo through it. They help Sigrun back to camp. She's weak, barely able to walk, her divine strength diminished by her injuries and her fall through the barriers between worlds. But even diminished, there's something about her that makes them all stand a little straighter. This is a being from legend, from songs sung around winter fires, from the oldest stories their grandmothers told. And she's real. She's as real as the snow under their feet. At the camp, Sven takes one look at Sigrun and his jaw drops. You have wings. You have actual wings. I am a Valkyrie, Sigrun confirms, accepting the blanket Bjorn offers and wrapping it around herself. Even divine beings feel the cold, apparently. And yes, I have wings. I had wings. Now I have wing, singular, and wing that will take to heal, also singular. Can you fly? Sven asks, and the eagerness in his voice is almost childlike. When you're healed, can you actually fly? Yes, not as high as eagles, not as fast as falcons, but faster than any horse, and higher than most mountains. When I am healed, I will show you, if we both survive what's coming. Sven looks like he might pass out from excitement. This is better than any book. This is real magic, real legends. Harold makes tea. He always makes tea, his gnarled hands steady as he measures herbs and heats water over the fire. The Valkyrie accepts a cup with grave thanks, wrapping her hands around it, letting the warmth seep into her. It's strange to see a divine being doing something so mundane. Makes her seem more real, more reachable. Tell us what happened, Harold says, and it's not quite a request. The demons. The barriers. How did this happen? Sigrun takes a long sip of tea. Really, Harold makes excellent tea, and begins her story. Her voice is melodious even in plain speech, each word carrying hints of song, of wind across high peaks, of distant thunder. The demons are not from your world, she begins. They come from a place between places, a void where broken things gather. Discarded realities. Failed creations. Things that were unmade but did not quite cease to exist. It is a terrible place, cold beyond cold, dark beyond dark, hungry beyond any hunger mortals know. She stares into the fire as she speaks, seeing things they cannot see. We have fought them before, millennia ago. Before your recorded history. Before the first human cities. Before writing. The world was younger then and stranger, and the walls between realms were thin. What happened? Freya asks softly. They broke through. Not as they do now, slowly, through cracks and weaknesses. Then they came all at once, a full invasion, tearing through reality like claws through cloth. The world nearly fell. Humans were fewer then, less organized, and the demons were strong, so strong. We fought them, Valkyries, Einherjar, the gods themselves. We fought them for years. Not mortal years, but the long years that divine beings count. The war was terrible. Many fell on both sides. But you won, Bjorn says. We won. Barely. The All-Father himself, Odin the Wise, Odin the Terrible, he crafted a seal. 9 runestones, placed in a great circle across the northern lands. Each stone inscribed with runes of power, of binding, of banishment. Each stone anchored in sacred soil, in places where the barriers between worlds are naturally strong. The runestones, Harold says softly. Yes, the runestones are very powerful. For 3,000 years, they held. The demons were sealed in their void, unable to break through, unable to touch this world. And slowly, the world forgot them. Forgot the war. Forgot the danger. Even the gods withdrew, returning to their own realms, believing the fight was over. But something happened, Astrid says. Something changed. Yes, the stones are ancient. Magic, even divine magic, degrades over time. The runes fade. The power weakens. And the demons never stop trying to break through. 3,000 years of constant pressure, constant assault. wearing away at the barriers like water wears away stone. Sigrun sets down her tea and looks at each of them in turn. The first stone cracked 6 months ago. Just a hairline fracture. A few demons squeezed through, nothing major. We dealt with them. We reinforced the stone. We thought it was an isolated incident. It wasn't, Freya says. No, 3 months ago, another stone cracked. Then 2 more. Then 5. The seal is failing, all of it all at once. The demons realize the barriers are weak, and they're pushing hard, coordinating their assault across all 9 points. The runestone near Frostholm, Bjorn says. That's why they came there. Yes, when your village's stone cracked, demons poured through. We tried to stop them, but there are only so many of us left. Most Valkyries have passed beyond, joined with the eternal sky, moved on to whatever comes after service ends. Only 12 of us remain in the mortal realms. 12 against a demon horde that numbers in the thousands. 12 Valkyries doesn't seem like enough, Sven says. Sigrun laughs and it sounds like silver bells. Each Valkyrie is worth 100 warriors, young one. We are trained from the moment of our creation. We have fought in every war worth fighting. We do not know defeat because we do not allow it. Her smile fades. But yes, 12 is not enough. Not against this. We can hold them temporarily. We cannot seal the breaches. For that, we need the stones restored. Can we repair them? Bjorn asks the question they're all thinking. Perhaps, but not just one. All 9 stones must be restored, or the demons will simply break through elsewhere. The seal is a circle. Break one part of the circle, and the whole thing collapses. All 9 must be whole, or none of them matter. That's... Sven trails off, unable to find words big enough for the task. Impossible? Sigrun suggests. Yes, it should be. But here you are anyway, trying. I like that about mortals. You don't let impossible things stop you. There's worse news, she continues, because apparently things can get worse. The demon lord is coming. Sir Talajai, the Black Flame, the Void Prince, the Unmaker. He leads the Voidborn, and he is ancient and powerful and very, very patient. He has waited 3,000 years for this moment. He seeks to break all 9 seals permanently, to destroy the runestones so completely that they can never be restored. If he succeeds, the demon horde will drown your world in darkness, and there will be no stopping them. Not with 12 Valkyries. Not with 12,000. Silence falls around the fire. This is bigger than Frostholm. Bigger than the mountains. Bigger than any of them imagined. They thought they were saving their village. Instead, they're trying to save the world. How do we stop him? Astrid asks, because someone has to. Because standing around in shocked silence won't solve anything. The 9 stones must be restored and reinforced. Each stone requires a ritual, and each ritual requires an artifact of power. The Valkyries were gathering these artifacts when we were ambushed by a demon warband. They knew what we were doing. They tried to stop us. Most of my sisters made it through. She touches her broken wing carefully. I was bringing an artifact to the Frostholm stone when I fell. Literally fell. There was a tear in reality, right in front of me. I went through it before I could stop myself. Fell from the sky, crashed in these mountains. I'm lucky to be alive. She reaches into her armor, moving carefully, and pulls out a small object. A raven's feather, but made of pure silver, crackling with tiny arcs of blue-white energy that dance across its surface. The feather hums with power, making the air around it shimmer. The feather of thought, Sigrun says, holding it up for them to see. Blessed by Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory. This feather was plucked from Hugin himself, given willingly, charged with divine purpose. It can restore one of the seals, reinforce the runes, make the barrier whole again. So we restore the Frostholm seal, Sven says, his voice shaking with the enormity of it all. We take this feather, we go to the runestone, we perform the ritual. And then what? We have to find 8 more artifacts? Restore 8 more stones? While fighting demons and corrupted creatures and racing against time. Yes, Sigrun says simply. She doesn't sugarcoat it. She doesn't offer false hope. She just states the truth, plain and hard as winter stone. Do you know where the other artifacts are? Harold asks. Some of them, yes. My sisters were gathering information before the ambush. I know that one artifact is held in the realm of the dwarves, deep beneath the mountains. Another was last seen in the possession of the frost giants in the far north. A third is hidden in the sunken library, beneath the waves of the eastern sea. The others? She shakes her head. We'll have to search. Follow clues. Hope we find them before the demons destroy more stones. Well, Harold says after a long moment, puffing on his pipe, smoke curling up to join the stars that are beginning to appear overhead. I suppose it's good to have a plan. A terrifying, impossible plan that will probably kill us all, but still. A plan. Despite everything, despite the scope of the task, despite the impossibility, despite the very real chance that they'll all die in the attempt, they laugh. It's absurd. 5 mortals and a wounded Valkyrie against a demon horde and their ancient lord. But they're going to try anyway. Because what else is there to do? Give up? Let the world fall? No, humans are stubborn. Humans are ridiculous. Humans look at impossible odds and say, watch me. And sometimes, just sometimes, that's enough.